Hello guys, my name is Joanna, welcome to my channel. As you can see, today I will show you and tell you a little bit more about new game by Lutz Magnus Studio, The Breach, new net crawler. So if you want to join me to this cyber world and steal some data tokens, I invite you to this video. Enjoy watching.
I welcome you breachers to the cyber world. Here it is. This is your board. From here you are to steal data tokens, but that's not the only place you can get them from. Now take a look at what data are you supposed to steal. Here's your top secret target card. Don't show it to anyone. You must collect the blue and yellow full data tokens and half of the green ones. However, now you should choose your hero and avatar. You can choose your hero from 4 available characters. Flip the card over and place it in your interface. There are special bonuses on each character card that you can activate during an upgrade action. Now it's time to choose an avatar, I mean miniature that you will move around the database with. On each card you will find a set of cubes and malware card that you will take at the start of the game. On the back of the cards it's a layout of 4 boxes where you will place the cubes. But now slide the avatar cards into your interface. After that, arrange the assigned cubes according to the colors into the corresponding boxes. So blue cubes to the blue box, red cubes to the red box and yellow cubes to the yellow box. The yellow box is responsible for the move action, the blue box is protection and the red box is attack. This white box is cache and will not allow you to perform an action but only store cubes until the next deployment. Once you have chosen your hero and avatar, select the appropriate card from them and from this select program cards. Assemble these cards with their reverse and choose which one you want to see, then insert them into your interface. When you perform the upgrade action of moving the cube, you will be able to activate the ability from this card. Shuffle the remaining cards and place them next to your board. They will form a deck of malware cards for your character to use. Now select the room in the database by the gate and reveal the tile. Then set it to create a passage with the adjacent tile, which is the still blackout room. Now you can place your avatar miniature in this room. This is a research room whose special ability will allow you to draw a search token after spending 1 movement point. Another player places their avatar in a room at another gate. And just like any breacher, he reverses a tile and decides how to place it relative to the others. Then put his avatar miniature here and will start the game from this room. This room's ability will reduce the hero's threat level when he spent 1 movement point. Each round begins with the breacher's turn, which consists of an action phase and a net phase. Within the action phase, each hacker has a number of actions available to them. One of this is the move action, the strength of which depends on some of the cubes that are on the yellow box. In the same way, the attack action is related to the number of cubes, in this case in the red box. On the other hand, the screen and defending action depends on the number of cubes in the blue box. Besides, it can perform a room infect action, an upgrade action, it can perform a configuration action, or it can disconnect from the database. At the beginning of the game, each player can use 2 clicks, that it's 2 actions and 1 configuration action. Now take a look at what sequence of data tokens I need to complete my secret goal. Among other things, there's a green data token, and my avatar is in a room with 1, so I might try to steal the data token. The infect room action allows you to place a virus in a room. If you can surround the full data token with 4 your viruses, then you can steal the data token. In the case of half data tokens, you only need to place your viruses on the 2 adjacent rooms. So when performing this action, you must roll the infection die and you check the result. This one will allow you to leave your virus token in the room, but you must also move a cube on the boat track and consider the effect. As a movement action, your avatar will be able to move between rooms, but if there is blackout room on the adjacent tile, you must reveal it first. The cost of reveal is shown on the open passage in the connection between the tails, and in my example is 1 movement point. I currently have only 1 cube in the yellow box that is the same color as the box, so I'm adding 2 points for that cube. I then move the yellow cube following the direction of the arrow to the next room, in this case to the blue room. So I therefore have 2 movement points to use this turn. At the same time, this means that as long as the yellow cube does not return to the yellow area, I cannot perform move action. So I spend 1 of the 2 available movement points, reveal the tail, and decide how to layout it to create a connection to the adjacent tail. Now to move the next room, I have to spend another movement point. I spend it and move the avatar miniature. Since I have used all my movement points, my action ends there. Additionally, I could spend movement points to use the room's ability. For 2 movement points, I can draw Marway card from my deck. After the player has used both click, actions, we move to the configuration action according to the current state, so in my case is 1 action. The configuration action gives players 2 choices. The player can either draw 1 Marway card or make 2 cubes pushes between the box. I will choose the second option, so I will move the yellow cube to the cache and then, as a second push, to the yellow box. This will allow me to perform the move action on the next turn. After the action turns have been proceeded, we bring to the net phase. This is the point at which player can steal data tokens, provided they manage to surround the data token on a board with their viruses. They can take the data token and place it in their player board on their hard drive. Each additional one will increase the stat, the number of available clicks and configuration actions. But most important, you will get closer to completing your secret goal. After they steal the data from the board, you have to clean up your viruses and leave 1 of your virus token on the place on the data token for tracking. The second breacher uses his first click, first action, to perform an upgrade action. So he chooses 1 of the 6 cubes on the top of his player board and uses the assigned bonuses. The first 2 are linked to the bonuses on the character card and each player has different ones. The middle 2 are identical for all players and the last 2 are linked to the avatar card, so they will be different for each player. After choosing a cube, the player must decide in which of 4 boxes at the bottom of the board he will place the cube. The first space links to a bonus on the character card. The middle 2 are identical for all players, and the last space is linked to an ability from the program card. And this is where Dahlia places her cube. What is important is that as soon as you take a cube out of the box, you benefit from the bonus shown next to it. In my example is the possibility to add another cube to my boxes. The black cube on the symbol means that the player chooses which color he will take. Dahlia decides to add the blue cubes to increase her protection, so she puts it in the appropriate box. Okay, it's time for second click, which is another action of this hacker. Dahlia decides to make a move, so she calculates the value of the yellow box to see how many action points she will take. He has 2 yellow cubes in the box, for each he adds 2 points, so he has a total of 4 action points. Then she moves 1 yellow cube in the direction of the arrow to an adjacent box, in my case to the red box. The Dahlia avatar will use its movement points to reveal the adjacent room tails. It has only 1 possible direction because this connection is closed. So it reveals a new tail and decides how to place it relative to the others. He places it so that a free passage is created between the rooms. So they don't spend movement points and she can move the avatar to the next room. This room is a tower whose ability gives a range attack when performing an attack action. Dahlia still has 4 movement points left to use. Exposing an adjacent tail costs 1 point, so she spends it and exposes a new room. Again, she set up how to place this tail and what transition between tails will form. The avatar moves to a new room tail to use its special ability there. By spending 2 movement points, he can draw 1 Marway card. She still has a movement point left, and since from this room she can no longer reveal adjacent ones. She decides to move back and ends her action phase there. If a player wishes to connect two unconnected rooms together, he can do so performing the action of opening a bridge. He draws a bridge card and places it on the top of the room tail. The card has a new transition cost on it. When it is passed, flip it over and cost will change, and sometimes there will be a restriction like this example, a requirement for a green data token. After all players have finished playing their phases, we start resolving the firewall turn. So we move to the firewall board, and now the player with the password token and is connected to the database, I mean his avatar is still on the board, draws an enemy activation card first. You have to know that here on this board at the beginning of the game, after selecting two enemies, one of the bot type and the other of the seeker type, you place the description card on the board. At the bottom of these cards are described the special characteristic of this enemy, and in the upper right corner, the life level, which is how many viruses you need to inflict them to defeat them, and the possible reward, which is how many reward tokens you get for defeating them. These tokens you can spend to buy a reward card with special bonuses. At the beginning of the game, the firewall strength level is 1, which is marked on the dice, but as a result of various effects, it will be increased, and thus the strength of all enemies will grow. So the player who has the password token is the first to draw an activation card from the deck next to the firewall board. This card indicates which type of enemy is activating, in my case it's Seeker, and which subroutines to consider. So this enemy will move 2 room tails and raise the threat level of the active player to level 2. Then move the cubes on the corresponding tracks on the firewall board. So according to the activation card, a Seeker appears in the room when the player is active. I will remind you that he has 2 movement actions as a result of the activation, and now it's up to the active player to decide where to move him. For example, he can move him to another avatar so that this player has to deal with him. Another subroutine from the enemy activation card, this increases the threat level on the active breacher by 1. We mark the player's threat level with a virus token on the left side on the board. When the threat level is 1, the player places the token in the space with the number 1. When the threat increases to 2, the token should be moved to level 2. And when it reaches level 3, the 1 token should be allocated to himself as a virus on the other side of the board. As you can see, each player has 3 spaces for virus tokens. We can get them from other hackers or guards after a fight or as a result of different effects. If a player gets 3 virus tokens, he is immediately disconnected from the database and his miniature returns to the player board. This is the perfect time for those hackers who have given this player at least 1 virus of their own to copy data from his hard drive or take reward tokens. When a player's avatar is disconnected from the database, the player has to spend 1 click in a new turn to reconnect to the database. He removes all assigned virus tokens and his miniature returns to the board to the room next to the gate. According to the enemy activation card, now move the cube on the Seeker track by 3 space and consider the effects immediately. So the Summoner Seekers show up in the active player's room, and it looks like this hacker is going to be in trouble. However, the enemies do not active, so he has a while time to deal with them or escape. Just a reminder that the special ability of this Seeker block the infection action on this room, and in addition, the player who leaves the room with the Seeker will receive 1 virus from each enemy present in the room. So second effect from the activation card tells you to move a cube on the guard track and trigger an effect from that box. This means increase the strength of a firewall, so you need to change the value of the dice from 1 to 2. From this point on, the strength of all enemies is equal to the strength of the firewall, and at this point is 2. As you probably already noticed, in this game without fights it's impossible to play, so see how it should be considered. I will show it to you with an example of an avatar attacking an enemy, in my case, the Seeker. The red box is responsible for the attack action, so I calculate my attack power. Here I have 2 red cubes and 1 blue cube. For a cube of the same color as the box, I add 2 points each. Blue gives me 1 point, so the total strength of my attack is 5. Then I move one of the red cube in the direction of the arrow to the adjacent box. In the case of Seeker, which the avatar is fighting, you need to assign 3 viruses to defeat him. For the defeat, the player will be able to take 1 reward token. Importantly, when fighting enemies, you need to allocate all the viruses required to defeat them within 1 turn, as they will reset in a new turn. If the fight is between 2 breachers, the attacker calculates his attack strength and compare it to the defense strength. Additionally, players can take turns playing their melee cards. The defense value depends on the number of cubes the defender has in the blue box at the time of the attack. It's calculated in the same way as the other traits. So with 1 blue and 1 yellow cubes, my defense value is 3. And now, if the attacking force is less than or equal to the defense value, the attacker will always assign 1 virus to the defender. If the attacker attacks with a strength higher than the defense, the attacker will allocate 2 viruses. While if the attacker managed to duplicate the defense value with his attack strength, the defender will receive 3 viruses. But when the defender's shield is 0, the attacker will assign 3 viruses to the defender and the defender will immediately be disconnected from the database. Both in a fight between hackers and between breachers and an enemy, it's important whether the avatar has a screen. It will protect him from the special effect of enemies, but also prevents him from being assigned 1 virus. Additionally, if a player receives a virus as a result of an attack, but has a blue cube in his blue box, he can move it to the cache and remove the virus he just received 1 per fight. The game ends when either hacker is the first to collect the full sequence of data tokens from their target card.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope that this video about the breach will be helpful for you. If you like this video, it will be great if you leave a like, a comment and join to my subscribers. And see you in next video. Bye bye.